Pyramid Head is a character that a lot of people recognize, but it's far more intriguing to ask, who, or more importantly, what is he? Is he truly evil, or does his existence serve a different purpose? Despite his iconic status, so much about him remains unanswered. He commits horrifying acts that seem irredeemable, yet his actions often make us question his true intentions. Even his appearance and subtle changes throughout the game leave many players puzzled. Why is Pyramid Head shaped like a pyramid? Why does he wield that massive knife? And why on earth are there two of them? The first time we encounter Pyramid Head is in Silent Hill 2 in the Woodside Apartments. As we navigate the dark, narrow halls, we see him ominously standing behind a metal grating, staring silently at the player. This grating is worth remembering because nearly all of Pyramid Head's appearances are carefully crafted to convey specific messages. He never appears without reason. But where does he come from? The town of Silent Hill has a long and dark history, deeply tied to its supernatural powers. Silent Hill was once home to a cult with a sect that followed an angelic being known as Valtiel. Pyramid Head is an eternal counterpart to Valtiel, functioning as an enforcer and attendant of sorts. The cult revered both entities, devoting their lives, actions, and even their clothing to their philosophy. Paintings in the Silent Hill Historical Society depict members of the cult wearing cone-like hoods, reminiscent of Pyramid Head's helmet. However, the Pyramid Head we see in Silent Hill 2 is not the same figure. This version is exclusive to JamesSunderland, and what sets him apart is his behavior. Pyramid Head's actions are inconsistent and difficult to interpret. Sometimes he stalks James, creating an ominous presence. Other times, he seems intent on killing him outright. And then there are moments where he commits unspeakable acts against the other monsters in Silent Hill. This inconsistency makes him enigmatic and hard to pin down. After Silent Hill's dark past as a town of executions and cult rituals, it transformed into a tourist destination, with Toluca Lake as its main attraction. James and Mary visited Silent Hill during happier times. During their visit, James likely encountered the painting of Pyramid Head in the Historical Society, which planted the seeds for this entity in his subconscious. Years later, after committing an unthinkable act, euthanizing Mary during her terminal illness, James returned to Silent Hill. The town's supernatural forces manifested Pyramid Head as a physical representation of James's guilt, created to torment and guide him toward the truth of his actions. In the first encounter behind the grating, neither James nor Pyramid Head can touch the other. This symbolizes James's disconnection from his guilt. He hasn't yet acknowledged what he's done. At this point, James is in denial, searching for Mary, even though a part of him knows she's gone. Pyramid Head forces James to begin this emotional journey by reflecting his guilt back at him. When Pyramid Head first fights James, he seems determined to kill him. But this isn't out of malice, it's a test. Pyramid Head exists to see if James is strong enough to confront his guilt and take on the journey ahead. If Pyramid Head had succeeded in killing James during this early encounter, it would mean that James wasn't ready to face the truth. In a way, James's death at this point would have been self-inflicted, a representation of his inability to accept responsibility for Mary's death. This tension between life and death carries through to the game's canon ending, where James drives into Toluca Lake, ending his own life. Does this mean Pyramid Head ultimately achieved true justice? Did the entity's purpose culminate in delivering a life for a life? The ambiguity surrounding Pyramid Head's role here leaves players questioning whether his judgment was fully satisfied, or if James's actions were simply another manifestation of guilt too heavy to bear. Pyramid Head is more than just a monster. He is James's guilt personified. Silent Hill's supernatural power turns James's inner turmoil into an external entity. James is so emotionally numb from his actions that he can't admit the truth, not even to himself. At the start of the game, he appears cold and detached, making decisions without fully considering their weight. This emotional suppression is why Pyramid Head exists, to force James to confront his buried memories. James's guilt stems not only from Mary's death, but also from the resentment he felt toward her during her illness. Mary's condition prevented them from living the life James had envisioned, traveling, experiencing intimacy, and building a future together. Feeling trapped and powerless, James ended her suffering to free himself. This selfish act birthed Pyramid Head as a relentless reminder of his guilt. In Jungian psychology, the shadow self represents the unconscious part of the psyche where repressed desires, instincts, and emotions reside, often those aspects of ourselves we find uncomfortable or unacceptable. Pyramid Head in Silent Hill 2 embodies this concept, serving as a direct manifestation of JamesSunderland's shadow self. As a figure of violence, judgment, and guilt, Pyramid Head reflects James's repressed guilt for euthanizing his wife Mary and his suppressed violent and sexual impulses. In Jungian terms, Pyramid Head acts as both a tormentor and a guide, forcing James to confront the parts of himself he has denied. His relentless pursuit and the suffering he inflicts symbolize the unintegrated shadow's role in driving internal conflict and self-destruction when left unacknowledged. The eventual self-destruction of Pyramid Head aligns with James's moment of realization and acceptance, a Jungian process known as individuation, where the shadow is integrated into the conscious self. This union allows James to understand his actions, accept his guilt, and begin the path towards psychological wholeness, illustrating the transformative power of facing one's shadow in the pursuit of self-awareness and redemption. Many players assume Pyramid Head is evil due to his violent and horrifying actions. He brutally dispatches other monsters, reflecting James's pent-up rage and repressed impulses. The unspeakable acts he commits mirror the darker thoughts James suppressed about Mary's condition. However, Pyramid Head never actually kills James, despite countless opportunities to do so. He wounds James, terrifies him, and pushes him to confront truths, but his goal isn't destruction, it's revelation. Pyramid Head has no personal motives. He is single-minded in his purpose, to make James accept the truth of his actions and come to terms with his guilt. He is a symbol of judgment, acting as an executioner for James's subconscious. His behavior, whether attacking, stalking, or guiding James, serves to steer James towards self-realization. Even his appearance reinforces this. The butcher-like apron and helmet evoke punishment and execution, tying him to Silent Hill's dark history and the concept of justice. His great knife, resembling half of a pair of scissors, symbolizes duality, one half belonging to Pyramid Head and the other to James, representing their shared struggle. The doubling of Pyramid Heads reflects the dual facets of his guilt, one for the act of euthanizing Mary and the other for his carnal frustrations and suppressed rage. This escalation serves to amplify James's internal conflict and push him toward accepting his sins. When James finally acknowledges his guilt, the Pyramid Heads, having fulfilled their purpose, end their own existence. Pyramid Head's influence extends beyond Silent Hill 2, leaving a lasting legacy in the series. In Silent Hill Homecoming, his appearance is deeply tied to the game's lore, serving as a manifestation of Alex Shepard's guilt and subconscious processing of trauma. Pyramid Head acts as Alex's personal monster, paralleling the other sacrificial children's fates, but tailored to Alex's unique circumstances. Unlike the other children who became literal monsters due to their deaths, Alex survived and internalized his pain, summoning Pyramid Head as both a guide and executioner. He appears at pivotal moments, such as in Alex's dream at the hospital, symbolizing Alex's subconscious understanding of being a sacrificial target and the guilt surrounding his family's actions. Later, Pyramid Head kills Alex's father, mirroring Alex's repressed judgment against his father for their family's betrayal. In the game's bad ending, Pyramid Head's significance reaches its peak as Alex is transformed into another version of him, representing Alex's failure to overcome his trauma and guilt. This transformation mirrors the other sacrificed children's fates and reinforces Pyramid Head's role as both a reflection of Alex's unresolved pain and a harbinger of judgment, cementing his place in Homecoming's lore. Pyramid Head shares striking similarities with mythological figures like Sisyphus and Nemesis, both of whom embody themes of punishment, judgment, and existential reckoning. Sisyphus, condemned by the gods to eternally push a boulder uphill only to have it roll back down, represents the futility and inescapability of punishment. Similarly, Pyramid Head is a relentless force in JamesSunderland's journey, embodying the psychological burden of James's guilt and regrets. The monster's ceaseless presence mirrors the repetitive nature of James's internal torment, where guilt endlessly resurfaces until it is confronted. Much like Sisyphus's eternal struggle, reflects the human condition of enduring one's burdens. PyramidHead also parallels Nemesis, the Greek goddess of retribution, who metes out justice to those who commit hubris or moral transgressions. Nemesis's role was to maintain balance by punishing excess and wrongdoing, a concept that resonates with PyramidHead's purpose. He serves as an impartial judge and executioner, forcing James to face the truth of his actions, his suppressed guilt over killing Mary, and his inability to admit it to himself. Just as Nemesis ensures that justice is served and balance is restored, PyramidHead compels James to reconcile with his guilt and accept responsibility for his actions. By blending the ceaseless punishment of Sisyphus and the divine judgment of Nemesis, PyramidHead becomes a powerful figure of mythological resonance, emphasizing themes of retribution, justice, and the inescapable need for self-confrontation. The concept of PyramidHead aligns with the philosophy expressed in Jacob's Ladder. The only thing that burns in hell is the part of you that won't let go of your life, your memories, your attachments. They're not punishing you, they're freeing your soul. If you're frightened of dying and you're holding on, you'll see devils tearing your life away. If you've made your peace, the devils are really angels, freeing you from the earth. PyramidHead is James's devil, but he is also his angel. He is a force of nature, relentlessly working to break James out of his delusions. In contrast, Maria exists to reinforce James's fantasies, pulling him further into denial. PyramidHead can't be killed or hurt. He only ceases to exist when James accepts the truth. At that moment, PyramidHead ends his own life, fulfilling his purpose as James's executioner and liberator. So, is PyramidHead evil? Not exactly. He's not a good guy, but he's not a bad guy either. He's simply the right guy, an unstoppable force of nature driven solely by his purpose to guide James toward the truth and ultimately redemption. In a way, PyramidHead reflects a part of all of us. That voice in the back of your head that questions your actions, that reminds you of your mistakes, and that pushes you to confront your darkest truths. He embodies the struggle between self-deception and self-awareness, challenging us to face our inner demons. PyramidHead is a symbol of the arduous journey toward personal truth and the empowerment that comes from embracing it. He may be menacing, violent, and terrifying, but perhaps his relentless pursuit is what ultimately sets us free. By confronting the aspects of ourselves we'd rather ignore, we, like James, have the opportunity to find redemption and emerge stronger. Maybe, just maybe, PyramidHead ultimately stands for the greater good.